Hey everybody, it's Ben in Beta, and today I'm back with another Rinseless video. So this is part of the DIY detailing for complete beginners series. And in the previous video, I showed you how to do a rinseless wash on a vehicle that wasn't all that dirty. And I showed you just how easy it was with kind of the least amount of equipment you could have to be able to do a rinseless wash. And now my vehicle is very dirty. I just was off-roading this last weekend with some new friends I've met here in Utah. It was super fun. Got to see the inside of a cool tunnel in the area, so it was cool to just be able to explore. But the truck's very dirty now, lots of dust on here. So this time it's not gonna be a rinse-free wash like the last one was. This is gonna be a true rinseless wash where I do have to rinse at least one time. And I'm gonna need to get all of this dirt off of here before I put a sponge to this. Because if I start scrubbing with a sponge on here without rinsing first, that would be bad for the paint. So I want to try to get as much of that dust as we can off of the vehicle. So a couple differences today. We're going to be using this right here, which is a portable pressure washer from Sunjo. So I talked about this in one of my earlier videos. This is a 5-gallon unit, and it works off of just a standard lithium-ion battery that you'd find like on a drill or something like that. I think this is the Makita style actually. Comes with its own charger, and it comes with a like 25 foot cord as well to be able to wash, as well as a couple of different tips. So there's a shower tip if you just want to take showers, that kind of stuff. This is also something you could use for camping. This is why I bought this model, because I might also use it for overlanding at some point. So I'm not going to use rinseless wash inside of here. This is just going to be pure water for me, at least for now. Maybe in the future, if I decide this is not the unit I want for overlanding, then maybe I would use it with rinseless wash in it as well. It also comes with a nozzle at the end that you can use. You can also adjust the stream on here, which is pretty cool. And the reason I picked it up for this series was if you're an apartment dweller and you need to be able to wash your vehicle and you don't have access to water, this is a great product to be able to use to be able to rinse your vehicle and still wash it. So that's why I picked it up. I have tried this a little bit in the house. It's got quite a bit of pressure for something this size, so I'm kind of excited about that. And it's also one of the reasons why I picked it over like the Fantic, which is much smaller. It's only a 2-gallon unit. It doesn't have quite as much pressure as this one does, but I think they're both really good. I'll link the Fantic one. It's probably better for people who are in apartments because it's a little bit smaller. This will probably have enough water in it that you wouldn't have to refill it if you went through the water basically on the other unit. So that's another advantage. Obviously it's very heavy at 5 gallons though, but it basically comes with everything you need. So we're gonna be using this today as well as something different from the last time. So instead of using the Detail Co Nemesis wash, we're gonna be using the Clean by Pan rinseless wash today instead. So a little bit different, but same thing. Once we're on the last phase, I won't need to put anything additional on the vehicle. I'll just be able to use my towel to dry it and that's it. Pans tends to leave a little bit more of a slickness to it at the end, which is kind of cool too. Definitely does a really nice job, and it smells great too. So we're gonna be using Clean by Pan. And this time to get my 2 ounces, we're using this Pro Blend. And basically we'll just squeeze what we need out of here and then dump it in the bucket, we'll be good to go. And then for applying the rinseless, we're still gonna be using the 360 Multi-Pro 2 from IK. And that worked really well for applying, so no problems there. We'll probably be using this twice this time though, because we're gonna need to apply the rinseless, then rinse with this unit, then apply the rinseless and do the rinseless wash. So this is one more step than what we had last time. This time I decided to use the DIY Detail Legacy Sponge. It works really good, so we're gonna use that this time. And then for drying, we're gonna use the Goat today from the House of Rags. And then if I need anything more, we'll use one of the Diva rinseless towels at the end if I have any other sections I wanna go over. So that's what we're gonna do today. Everything else is exactly the same as what we did last time. So I'm not gonna record the entire wash. I'm just gonna show you the pieces that are important to this one. If you wanna see a full rinseless wash, you can head back to that other video to check that out. But I'll try to give you a couple different angles on things today while keeping it kind of quick. I'll have links to all these products in the description if you wanna pick them up. If you do use them, it does benefit the channel. Anything from the House of Rags, which would be things like the Clean by Pan, the IK sprayer, the towels, that kind of stuff, the Legacy Sponge. Those things, you can use code Ben in Beta and save 10% off your order. And then for the things on Amazon, if you do use the links, it does benefit the channel, and I appreciate that very much. But also remember, it takes a lot of time and effort to make these videos, so please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done that, share this out with anybody who's just getting into detailing and might need to know more about these things as well. I really appreciate that too. Let's get this thing washed up. All right, so I've already pretty much filled this up. It's not quite all the way full, but pretty close. And so we have a couple different things on the front here. There's really nothing on the back, just some storage for your accessories and things like that. So we would want to get the battery in here, and it kind of goes in upside down. Okay, that's in there, and then it's got this sort of magnetic door to close things up. Then you've got your water hose outlet here, and this is actually quite pliable, which is kind of nice, and pretty long. But the one thing I learned about these types of plastic connectors is you really need to be careful and make sure that they're connected all the way on, they're tight, or they'll spray everywhere. And that's the same for this side too. So if you disconnect this, you have to remember when you put it back on, if it's loose like that, that's not gonna work. You have to wait till you hear that click. It's really important. But once that's on there, it'll be ready to go. So as far as like, again, ease of use for something like this, because I can pick the unit up and move it, but you can see the unit's sitting right in front of the camera, and I can actually get to the back of the truck if I need to, which is nice. So that's kind of how it hooks up. And then all you need to do is hit the on button here. And as far as spray goes, you have the ability to adjust it here. That's like hard spray. And then you can go all the way out to a pretty big like fan puff there. That's not really ideal, but so there's your kind of adjustment on that. Pretty good spray from a small unit like this. All right, the tires are done. They're not perfectly clean, but they're good enough for me. I don't need them to be perfect, but they're actually pretty clean. Not looking too bad. And so now you can see how much dust has actually come off of here, which is quite a bit. What we're gonna do next is we're gonna put Rinseless on the entire rest of the vehicle and the paint and everything like that, top to bottom. I'm gonna rinse it with the Sunjo, then we're gonna go ahead and do the actual Rinseless wash. I might talk a little bit about just some of the technique there, but I'm not gonna film the entire thing. But I'll try to get a couple different angles as we do it. We're gonna be using the clean by pan. So we want 2 ounces, there's about 4 gallons in there. So we're gonna go ahead and squeeze. And that's how the Pro Blend works. And then when I let go, 2 ounces of product in there. And then I just flip this lid and pour it in. That's all I gotta do. And I know I got exactly 2 ounces. So another way to do this, nice and quick, kind of a nice little feature of that. Clean by pan smells great, by the way. And let's mix this in real quick. And then the same tip as last time, we're gonna fill up the IK multi-sprayer here from this. And I'll probably have to fill it twice today, but that's all right. Make sure there's enough room to get everything back in there. And pans will turn the water kind of a milky color, and there's nothing wrong with that, it's totally fine. So we're gonna just go ahead, do the truck really quick, and then rinse it. And we should be good to go. We're gonna go top to bottom just like we did last time. We're basically using the Rinseless to grab on all the dirt and dust particles and just pull them off the truck before we do the actual contact wash. So that's why we're doing it. And you could put Rinseless into the sprayer as well that I bought, the Sunjo, and that would work too. It would probably work faster. Now pans Rinseless is nice because if it does dry, if you just get a little more Rinseless on, it'll come right off and it won't leave anything behind. And obviously before I wash, I can just keep taking out of there, not a problem. So I want to show you kind of what happens when you put this on the vehicle back here, and just watch. Where I'm spraying it, it's just grabbing the dirt and basically it's pulling it right off there for me, which is exactly what I want. So it's encapsulating that dirt for me really well. And this is before I've, doing any kind of a real rinse. Now back here, it's going to take a little bit more work with the actual pressure of the water to get that off. But this is the dirtiest part of the vehicle, and again, you can just see it grabs right onto that stuff and it just starts running right off the vehicle. Now when we do the actual Rinseless part, I might have to do it kind of section by section, and that's okay. I wanted you to see kind of what that looks like. Now, a bigger keg sprayer or something like that would be probably kind of nice for something like this too. I wouldn't have to fill this up quite as often, but I actually didn't fill it up all the way the last time here. And then when we actually do the wash panel by panel, I won't use as much water on that. So now I can use the Sunjo portable pressure washer here to rinse everything off. And then it'll be time to just do the contact wash after we spray on some more Rinseless. Here we go. So the sprayer isn't as powerful as a pressure washer, but it's doing a perfectly great job of rinsing. Without any kind of problem, I would say. I think you can kind of see how it grabs the dirt and just sort of pulls it off the truck. Hopefully here. You can see all that dirt actually just flying right off there. The pressure's pretty good. Now I have it in a little bit wider spray pattern so I don't waste as much water in just like smaller spots. It's working quite well. All right, I got most of the truck already, but you can see how much dirt has really come off. So you can see where I've been and where I haven't. And yeah, lots of dirt came off. So when I do the Rinseless, it's gonna just leave a lot less dirt in the water, which is good too. All right, so I cleaned everything with the Sunjo. This is a pretty fantastic little unit. I'm gonna be honest with you, this is gonna make this really easy when I wanna do a quick wash in the summertime, get things done and not have to take all my stuff out. It's great. Now, I did have to fill this up a couple of times. The truck was very dirty with dust, so there was a lot of washing to be done. That's why it makes me think the Fantic one might be a little bit too small. About a half a fill up on the tires and then 1.5 fill-ups, I would say, on the rest of the vehicle. But now it's time to do the rest of the Rinseless and get that all done. So we'll do that now and switch this off. And as I said, we're gonna do it panel by panel because it's kind of windy out and things might dry up otherwise. I might be able to do maybe a little bit more than a panel at a time. But I'm just gonna grab a little bit more water out of here, make sure I have enough solution, and we should be good. Top to bottom, just like before. And if you didn't see my last Rinseless, we'll get this wet here, and it's just on the verge of dripping. That's all we want to be able to wash. And then we're gonna dry section pretty much as soon as we're done. Once it's dirty as well, I'll just flip the sponge over so I don't have to get off the ladder as much. And it might not be all that dirty. We'll see. All right. So I said a panel at a time. How about the entire roof? I think there's plenty up there at this point. I also, once again, forgot my gloves. Let's see if I can give a little bit different angle at least. Like I said, you can see the vehicle is really not that dirty because we rinsed a lot of that off safely. Turn this over and try to do a little bit of the hood here for myself. And I might be able to get the glass too. Should be able to get the back of this. And then I can dry. There's my towel. Didn't really have that much left to do here. And we should be able to dry pretty quickly. Again, because of the weight of this towel, it gives in those grooves really nicely too, which is what you want for quick dries. And I can get the hood pretty much in one fell swoop too. This is really nice slick surface right now, and the goat is a pretty phenomenal drying towel, I have to say. It's making this really, really easy. So anyway, that's how it works, and you can now see the results here. And when it's completely finished, I will do a quick walk around. All right, I'm all done, and I think the truck looks pretty darn good, especially when you compare it to what it looked like when we started. Now, I picked up some scratches in my last off-roading adventure here, but that happens. I'm not too concerned about that, but look at the back here. This is crazy, and it's all just rinseless with one rinse. Top's all good, but yeah, truck's looking great. Glass is all good. So pretty impressive. So I think the answer to can you rinseless wash a really dirty vehicle is yes, you can. You definitely still need to rinse, and this worked really well. I was very impressed with it. This cord didn't really get in my way too much, even though it's kind of tangly right now. The trigger pull is actually pretty nice on it, and I was able to adjust the stream exactly to where I needed it. Battery lasted the entire time, and I did have to refill it a couple times, but it wasn't too bad at all. So I'm pretty impressed with the Sun Joe. I think if you're looking for something that is portable for an apartment, or if you just want to do rinseless at your house, I think this is a pretty good way to go. Now, as far as the rags go, I didn't talk about this in the last video too much, but I really liked the Diva towels, both the full Diva and the rinseless ones. I did use this a little bit at the end, but not too much. This did almost the entire vehicle by itself, and there's a lot more water on this because I had rinsed it first. So the goat is pretty darn good. Jamie and Eddie did a great job designing this, so it works really well, and I would recommend this towel to anybody. I'd also recommend the DIY drying blanket. There's some other towels that are out there that are good, but for the price and the size and what you can do with these are pretty hard to beat, I'd have to be honest. And then if you're wondering, like, is Pan's rinseless better than somebody else's rinseless? Best is kind of a hard thing to decide upon. I like Pan's rinseless. It smells good, it works great, and I like that it leaves a little bit of slickness behind, but not too much. The truck looks pretty darn great. So if you have any questions, please leave those in the comments so I can answer those and try to help you through. This is the next step in the rinseless video for complete beginners. There's lots more videos to come, but hopefully this was helpful. If you did find it helpful, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not done that yet. Share this out with anybody who's interested in detailing or getting into rinseless, that kind of thing. Thank you so much for watching. Remember, live your life in beta, and we'll see you next time.